morning students. Today we will see how to validate a model. We have seen how to evaluate different models like classification, clustering, scoring, etc. So once we have evaluated our model using different methodologies, we need to test our model on new data. So this process is known as model validation, and we will be having a test set, and based on which we will be validating our model. So validity means whether it is showing similar quality on new data in production. So while we are validating our model, some problems can encounter. The common problems encountered are bias. Bias means it is a systematic error in the model which can appear while we are testing the model, and it is an under-predicting error. Next is variance. We have predicted values and actual values, and how much the predicted value is deviating from the actual value. This undesirable distance is known as variance. And if our model is oversensitive, that means if the sensitivity is more, then there can be small variations in the distribution of training data. Another common problem encountered is overfitting. Overfitting means the features of model that arise from the relations that are in the training data but not representative of the general population. It is actually appearing due to the training data error. So overfit can usually be reduced by acquiring more training data and by using techniques like regularization and bagging. Next is non-significance. Non-significance means it is a model that appears to show an important relation when in fact the relation may not hold in the general population, or equally good predictions can be made without the relation. That means if there is a significance, it means that there is a good relationship among the variables. So here you can see how the model causes overfitting. So here the training data is shown by ash dots, and blue color dot shows new data, and this is our model predictions, the gray curve. So a properly fit model will make about the same magnitude errors on new data as on training data. So if the error is more, that means the model is overfit. So a overfit model has memorized the training data and will make larger errors on new data. Memorize means we have more errors on training data, so the difference of the error between the training data and the new data will be more. So that is explained here. The overfit model looks great in the training data and performs poorly on new data. So what is a model prediction error on the data when it is trained? That is known as training error, and the model's prediction error on new data is known as generalization error. So usually the training error will be smaller than the generalization error. An ideal situation is that the two error rates should be close. The generalization error is large, then our model is probably fit. Now we also need to quantify that our model is sound. Okay, so if you are evaluating our model only based on the data which it is constructed, then it won't be good always. So a single evaluation of model performance is not enough to estimate the performance of a model. So we need a good characterization of how much potential variation is there in our model production, and a measurement procedure, and how well our model is likely to perform on future data. So for this we have some other methods to ensure model quality. The first one is testing on holdout data. So the data used to build a model is not the best data for testing the model's performance, because an upward measurement bias can be there. So if you are only depending on the construction data, that is the training data, then sometimes optimization of model performance measured on training data can cause an upward measurement bias or error in the data. So Most standard fitting procedures have some built-in measures like R-squared error we have seen in linear regression, and the effect tends to diminish as our training data becomes large with respect to the complexity of a model. So if we depend only on the training data, as the training data becomes large, then the model becomes so much complex and the error can be more. So we will be splitting our available data into testing data and training data, and we will be delaying our performance measure with respect to our test data late in our project. So this keeps the test data secret for as long as possible. The second method is k-fold cross-validation. So in practice, we want both an unbiased estimate of our model's future performance on new data simulated by test data and an estimate of the distribution of this estimate under typical variations in data and training procedures. That means we need to evaluate the performance of our model on different stages of the training data. So not only we need to test the performance on future data, the training procedures, if there is any variation in the training data, the model should perform or work well under all these types of data. So a good method to perform this estimate is k-fold cross-validation and the related ideas of empirical resampling and bootstrapping. We can actually sample our training data into smaller subsets and we can repeat the same procedure on all these subsets. So the idea behind k-fold cross-validation is to repeat the construction of the model on different subsets of the available training data and then evaluate the model only on data not seen during construction. That means we will be finally evaluating the model on the test data which is only seen at the later stage of our project. So this is an attempt to simulate the performance of the model on unseen future data. The next method is significance testing. It is also known as p-value. So the idea behind the significance testing is that we can believe our model's performance is good if it is unlikely that a naive model or a null hypothesis could score as well as our model. That means we have a null hypothesis stating that the two effects are independent when we are trying to model a relation, or we can say that a variable has no effect on another when we are trying to measure an effect strength. For example, if we take two variables like age and blood pressure, we can state the null hypothesis as the age and blood pressure are independent or age and blood pressure dependent. So whatever we are stating as a null hypothesis, we can reject the null hypothesis based on some statistical test, and based on that we can evaluate the performance of a model. So the traditional statistical method of computing significance or p-value is student's t-test or an f-test. So for classifiers, there is a particularly good significance test that is run on the confusion matrix called the Fisher test. So there is no need to go into deep regarding student's t-test or f-test or any other statistical test. So just study the names of all these tests. That is, we have different types of statistical tests to evaluate the performance of a model based on a null hypothesis. And also we can use a permutation test where we permute the input or independent variables among examples, and in this case there is no real relation between the modeling features, that is modeling features means the permuted values, and the quantity to be predicted, because in our new data set the modeling features and the result come from different or unrelated examples. So each rerun of the permuted procedure builds something much like a null model. The last one is a confidence interval. So confidence interval means it is actually telling about the probability of how much a true value can appear. So for a 95% confidence interval, that means it is an interval from an estimation procedure such that the procedure will be having 95% chance of catching the true unknown value to be estimated in an interval. So So what is the probability of catching the true value that is given by the confidence interval? So it is not the case that there is a 95% chance that unknown true value is actually in the interval at hand. Then there is an alternative to confidence interval, that is credible intervals, which can be easier to understand but do require the introduction of a prior distribution. So these are the different methods to validate our models based on training data and testing data. Hope you have understood the topic. Thank you.